On to a fun one. Season's gone really quick here, obviously, and excited for this next challenge here with Washington. But again, want to take the opportunity to thank our fans for being unbelievable this past weekend. Got some work in with our guys this morning, and certainly excited to continue to attack this week.
Great, you're on the right there.
After watching film, I'm curious what you saw from Fox Crater and Charlie Pickard in their, play after the injuries.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job stepping up. Certainly some opportunities that they can clean up, but the guys played with good effort. They were execution sound, like as far as technique. We had a couple snap infractions with Charlie we'd have to get cleaned up, but those guys came in and performed.
Right here on the right.
Yeah, you had talked about this USC receiver group as one of the best you had seen at Oregon. Just curious, what you saw from your secondary against them and how this Washington group looks.
The beginning of that question, I didn't hear.
You had talked about this USC receiver group as one of the best you had seen. Just what you saw from your secondary on tape, and then what you think of this Washington group.
Yeah, Washington has certainly some capable wideouts. We got to do a better job at the 50-50 balls. There were some moments where they competed and they were contested at times, but they went up and won it. They got the ball at the top, and those are tough against guys like that. Ultimately we wanted to limit Mekhi Lemon. I thought we were able to do that in a lot of ways. I know he scored, but he didn't have a ton of yards in receiving. But the other wideouts stepped up and made some big plays. Some of those I think we can make better plays on. Some of them I think they were great throws and catches, and those are going to happen in those moments. But probably more than any of that is cleaning up just the pass interference where we had opportunities to get off the field. We didn't.
On the left there.
Talk a lot about depth and how it helps on Saturdays, but how much does that help contribute to kind of, the ownership or the culture of this team where there are so many guys contributing, and on a game like Saturday with Charlie and Fox, like they feel like they're invested in something?
Yeah, I think it's that. I mean, it's certainly easier to feel like you're a part of something when you get to be a part of it on Saturdays and get to be out there on the field on Saturdays. And we've had a lot of guys that have been a part of it, right? And their role might be different for a lot of guys, but when you can use the numbers that we have, when you can use all the guys on our team that we have, and they can contribute in some way, you certainly are going to have a better feeling about your contribution to the team.
James.
Dante's been one of the most accurate and efficient quarterbacks in the country on third down all season. And when you add in the context of 2-minute drives into the half or those clutch drives late in fourth quarters, cross-field throws in particular to Benson that have been pro-level throws, what has allowed the two of them to connect like that and Dante on third down as a whole, where it's not just check downs and high percentage throws, it's extremely difficult throws in big situations?
Yeah, preparation. A lot of preparation's been put in by Dante. Works really hard. Just being on the same page. So several of those plays that he's makes are checks, based on coverages as well. So to piece all those pieces together, it's a lot of hard work on his part and work by the wideouts, knowing that they're going to be where he trusts them to be.
Back on right.
You mentioned the DPIs. Finney got tested a lot in this game, gave up a few plays, had some DPIs called at him. How have you seen him kind of attack that and put that behind him and now go on to the next challenge?
Yeah, he's always a next play guy, right? And I think it's going to be learning moments for him, but ultimately he's a guy we'd all go to war with any day. When you go against good players, that's part of understanding that moments like that can happen. And that's not a surprise. You have an expectation that moments like that will happen at some point this year. It's about how you respond, and he's already responded. So got a lot of confidence in him.
Back right, Jack.
You guys have quite a few rivalries. You look at Oregon State in-state rival, but rivalry week, you play Washington. Just curious what your perspective is on just this rivalry, the history that Oregon has with Washington, and sort of how do you control, we talked about it with USC, but controlling the emotions in a rivalry game?
Yeah, it'll be a lot of the same messaging from that standpoint of go out there and do your job. It's the best way you can control. And I know that our guys are going to be a high level of emotion in this game. They're going to have that. But it's definitely an important rivalry to us. This game means a lot. It's probably the number one question I get asked when I'm out on the road with donors and support groups and talking about our university is about this game. It's one that I struggled with early on when I was here. To start, they had some success against us, so it means a lot to me. It's one that I want to have success in, and they're well coached. I mean, Jed does a good job. They have good players. They've done a really good job in talent evaluation. Their quarterback's playing as well as anybody right now. Got good wideouts, got good back. I know they've been a little banged up. It sounds like they're getting healthy, similar to us. We've been banged up. So ultimately, though, you see a complete team, and then two fan bases that don't like each other, which makes it fun.
On the left, John.
Run game on Saturday was super heavy on stuff like counter and split zone where you're using the tight ends as pullers. What is it about Kenyon and Jamari where you felt like they were giving you an advantage as blockers on the ground?
Yeah, I think they're good in the C area. They block well. They're physical. Those things all showed up.
left, Matt.
Touched on Damon briefly, but just your impressions of him and his growth from freshman to now sophomore, and what's made him one of the better quarterbacks.
When we saw him last year, I knew that, okay, this guy's going to be a really good player. His speed is unique at quarterback. I don't think there's anyone we've seen that can run like he runs, this year. And he can make really impressive throws as well. And he has some wideouts that he can go to. So when he's on, man, they're dangerous. They're really dangerous. And it's hard to get him off. So he plays really well. Can make all the throws, can run with his feet. Tough guy to get down.
Eric, same row.
What are your impressions of their defense, new defensive coordinator? You faced him a year ago as a head coach at Purdue. What kind of stands out with him and what he's trying to achieve and what they've done?
Yeah, I think they've got a little bit more versatility than I've seen from the past. A lot of variety that they can pitch. They're a game plan defense. You're going to see new stuff each week, not necessarily carry over from the previous week. They've got good, good talent on that side of the ball, but the variety makes it a challenge. 4 down, 3 down fronts, multitude of coverages, some middle closed, certainly some high safety looks that we've seen in the past, but a lot of variety off of that as well.
James.
Last year you'd said, Dan, that there were more pros than cons to playing in the conference title game and a big advantage to having that first round bye. You're still alive for the conference title game and you know the outcome before kickoff. Do you feel the same way at this point as somebody who's still alive to play in the conference title game, and given the circumstances of injuries and the like, where part of your fan base is trying to play GM and what may or may not be advantageous for you guys by way of playing another game versus first round game?
That's got to be one of your longest questions for me just to say. I'm only worried about this game, but it was a good question. But I'm just worried about this game. But that's got to be close. I don't know if we had a timer on it. That was one of those long ones.
Zach.
I was going to ask the same question if you didn't.
The same way? Same way?
Same way. It was a little
Sure
bit,
you were.
A little bit
Come on,
shorter,
man.
but
No, it was a good question. It's a good question. There's not a lot of benefits for me answering it. We'll play whatever game we get to play, but I'm really excited to play this one first.
I think we all knew that was going to be your answer.
Right.
Your team in year 2 was markedly better than it was in year 1. Where have you seen Jed's team improve this year compared to where it was last year?
Yeah, just it takes a while for culture to set in. It takes a while to get your players there. I mean, guys playing inspired, and I can't speak to exactly what the huge growth moments are for them, but one that the quarterback development is really impressive. Schematic and the pieces they're carrying, the variety that they carry. I mean, it's a real challenge, and it takes some time to get all that in. And it seems like it's really in form now.
Back right, Jack.
Coach, with Thanksgiving on Thursday, I want to ask, what are you thankful for? And if you could only have one Thanksgiving food item, what are you picking?
Oh, man, so much to be thankful for. It has to start with family for me, for sure. Thankful for the opportunity to coach here at Oregon and coach the people that I do, work with who I do. There's a lot of benefits, a lot of things to be thankful for. And if it's Thanksgiving, I've got to go dark meat turkey, man. I don't know how you can pass that up.
On the left, John.
Seen Nasir White come in for those like third down speed rush packages at times this year, and on Saturday, spin move on the inside gets the hit on the QB and it forces the interception for Iffy. Just what have you seen from him in those like flashes that excites you, and especially in practice too, what he's able to do on some of the tackles?
Yeah, he's hard to block, man, and it's the same things we saw when we started recruiting, that this guy's going to be able to make an impact on quarterbacks. I mean, he's got speed, he's got athleticism, really natural pass rush ability, and that's shown up for us. So really glad we could have him out there.
James.
Eastu was the only player, technically a senior, to not walk on Saturday. Has a decision been made there about returning, redshirting, medical hardship, or the like?
No, I don't think so.
On the left, Matt.
Tosh has been linked to Cal. I'm curious, what have you seen from him as a coordinator and his growth as an assistant that's made him a candidate for a job like that? And can you speak to just the resources you have to keep your staff intact for the large part? Because a lot of these guys are going to be sought after for previous years and for years to come, and you've been able to maintain their staff. Yeah,
Tosh is an unbelievable coach, right? I learned from him as much as now getting the opportunity to work together in this setting with me as a head coach. But I've learned from him back when I was a GA at Alabama, and he is a relentless worker, an unbelievable guy at preparing. He'll make an outstanding head coach when the opportunity comes that he wants, and it makes sense for him. Anybody that wouldn't look at him would be crazy. I mean, he does an unbelievable job, and it's not, has a reputation of doing an unbelievable job as a recruiter, but that's not all that he is. He is as an unbelievable coach. He can coach every position on defense, understands offensive ball, puts in the time and effort. So when he gets his opportunity, I know he'll kill it. And at some point that'll happen. And I always talk about, my goals for our staff and really myself is for me to be able to help people advance for opportunities for themselves that make a lot of sense. And will that happen this year for Tosh? I think it has to make unbelievable sense for him for it to happen, and same for Will, and same for several coaches on our staff. We got a bunch of coaches that are going to be phenomenal head coaches when they get that chance. But we also have a really good product here that a lot of these guys have said no to a lot of great opportunities because they don't want to leave what we have here. So will he get that opportunity someday? I hope he does if he wants that. And same for all the other coaches on our staff because they're certainly deserving. We get to have a great team here because of what they've done. And the great thing is our players understand that that's how opportunities work. Man, you go places, you work really hard, and then the next opportunity comes. And it'll be the same for the players that are on our team. You work really hard, you do a great job. At some point, you get to get opportunity to go be in the NFL. So we'll see how that all goes. The number one thing that can impact that is how we perform, right? And if we perform really well on Saturday, it's going to continue to create more opportunities for us. And if that happens, then that's going to be, me accomplishing some of my goals where other people get to accomplish theirs. So we'll see how it all plays out. There's some great coaches we got here. I hope they get the opportunities that they deserve down the road for sure.
All right, Zach.
Another question I think we probably know your answer to, but curious if you could give us an update on Poncho and whether or not he's going to be able to play in this game.
Yeah, we'll see.
James.
When teams lose the volume of players that they do year over year nowadays, Dan, how do you try to connect to past outcomes by way of going up to Seattle when I think there's only 10 guys who played in that game 2 years ago, and none of them were starters, and I think the same could be said on their side. So how do you try to connect and tap into that and not just go to the same well all the time, either by one player or your own past experience?
Yeah, you show it to them, you educate them on it, show them the history of the game. We did some of that this morning. Try to illustrate to them what it looks like and compare it to other atmospheres that they have been around.
James.
What stands out about their corners, 7 and 8? Yeah, they're obviously
size.
Yeah.
It's definitely one size. They compete. Again, use a variety of techniques. They do a good job of getting cloud, but they also play press and get hands on. I think they can show up when it comes to tackling. But the length, it makes it hard to throw into tight windows for sure.
All we have for Coach. Thank you.
All right, appreciate you guys.